Γεια σας και καλώς ήλθατε στο euronews. Η επίθεση της Χαμάς στο Ισραήλ έγινε σε μια χρονική στιγμή κλιμακούμενης έντασης στις σχέσεις Παλαιστινίων και Ισραηλινών, αλλά και έντασης στο εσωτερικό του Ισραήλ. Το γιατί η Χαμάς επέλεξε αυτή τη χρονική στιγμή για να επιτευχθεί τόσο βάναυσα έχουν λεχθεί πολλά τις τελευταίες ημέρες. Δεδομένο είναι πάντως ότι φέτος ήταν η πιο θανατηφόρα χρονιά που έχει καταγραφεί για τους Παλαιστίνιους στην κατεχόμενη από το Ισραήλ Δυτική Όχθη. Κάτι που θα μπορούσε να παρακινήσει τη Χαμάς να χτυπήσει το Ισραήλ με μια θεαματική επίθεση. Για το τι μελιγενέστε, συζητούμε με τον πρέσβη του Ισραήλ στην Ελλάδα, Νόαμ Κατς. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us. Let me start by offering you our deepest condolences. Israeli authorities have said that they are launching a strong attack against Hamas terrorism. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Israel's response to Hamas attack will change the Middle East. What can we expect?
Well, we have to understand the magnitude of the attack that was done on Israel and on Israeli civilians. 4 days ago, the Hamas terror organization launched an overall attack on the state of Israel, pouring at the beginning hundreds and thousands of rockets on Israeli cities and communities, and invading the ground, from sea and from the air with paragliding into Israel, penetrating close to 30 villages, communities, kibbutzim, and cities, brutally murdering Israelis. The magnitude of the brutal executions and the sites that are coming from the place, some of them, by the way, Hamas was proud to broadcast by itself, are horrifying. Infants that their heads were cut off, people that were shot in front of their families, in their beds, in the streets. Up to yesterday, we are speaking about 1,200 people that were butchered in the most brutal ways. People were taken hostages. Some of them within those communities, some of them were taken to Gaza. We are speaking about 150 hostages, Holocaust survivors, elderly people, infants, women that were tortured and humiliated. It is unprecedented. It's things that we've seen maybe in World War II or by ISIS. The brutality of that is unimaginable. It's influenced us personally. Each one of us knows somebody that was killed or was abducted. It's personal. All the people of Israel that are not in the shelters were called to service. It's a war that we were forced to take, and this war was unprovoked. So the first stage was to clear all the areas that were captured by the terrorists. Up to this morning, they are still attempting to penetrate Israel. We freed all the areas within Israel. About 1,500 terrorists were killed during that. Some of them were caught by our forces. And we are hitting, at the moment, all targets of Hamas within Gaza. And we have a clear mission. Our clear mission is to operate as long as it takes to remove and dismantle this army of terror that was built by these savages, brutal murderers, criminals of Hamas.
Israel's defense minister said that the authorities would block deliveries of food, water and fuel into the Gaza Strip, into the enclave. 2.3 million people live there. We're about to see a humanitarian crisis. I guess all these people, the 2.3 million, are not militants of Hamas. Some of them are not even supporting Hamas. First of all, do you agree with this? And second, is Israel going to take this into account, into forming its strategy?
Our enemies are not the people living in Gaza. Our enemies are Hamas. Hamas has an effective control. It created a terror state in Gaza, taking Gaza in a bloody coup from the Palestinian Authority in 2007, having effective control on the people and on the land, and our mission is to break their capabilities. Part of it demands that we will stop some of the services. We are aware we are operating in Gaza at the moment in accordance to the international law. We even give warnings to the places that we are going to assault or attack from the air, giving time for people to evacuate. But nothing will prevent us from hitting Hamas. We cannot allow this organization to keep its forces and to be capable of continuing with the vision that it has for every citizen in Israel. And we got a nightmarish example what they would like to do to us. And at the same time, we have tension also up north. And we are fully prepared for any challenge. We sent warnings to all those groups that belong to the Iranian axis of terror that is funded and led by Iran. Whether they are sitting in Lebanon and it's the militias armed to the teeth of the Hezbollah, whether it's the militias in Syria or in other places, stay out. We have to break the power of this army of terror, and it's not going to be easy. We are aware that there are civilians in the areas that we are going to fight. We are aware of the strategy of Hamas to locate themselves in a double war crime, not only butchering and attacking Israeli civilians, but involving the civilians and using their own civilians as human shelters. We will try to do it first, for sure, according to the international rule of law, and secondly, with the minimum possible damages for civilians. But the war with the Hamas will continue.
As you said, Hamas took hostages. Some of them are small children, elderly people. We have seen procedures of retrieving hostages past years lasting many years. What is the cost that Israel is willing to pay to retrieve these hostages? And do you have any information? How many are they?
We have information, or basic information, of how many people were abducted and taken as hostages. We don't know their situation. They have no access to Red Cross or other humanitarian organization that will know anything about their fate. The full responsibility for their safety and life is lying with Hamas. We've seen how they've been tortured, paraded, and humiliated. We have not much faith in this organization that threatens also to execute them. The responsibility lies with Hamas. And in parallel, the war against this terror machinery will continue.
How did Hamas manage to take Israel by surprise? You know, the whole world was stunned seeing the very well-prepared Israeli armed forces being taken by surprise.
It's true that it took us by surprise. I think that there are a lot of questions that should be asked, will be asked. There will be investigation, studying, examination, but that will be one day after the victory would be achieved.
Do you think that the fact that lately Israel had some domestic problems, disagreements, you know, there was a social unrest over a law by the government, do you think this contributed? I mean, they thought that the Israeli defense was vulnerable.
They might. I don't know what was going in their mind. It was clear to everybody that knows Israel that despite of the political polarization and the dispute on certain issues that we have in Israel, we are a very united society and people. The entire country is unified behind the need to dismantle the Hamas capabilities. There is a full support. All protests, opposition action were suspended. There might be even a unity government formed to deal with the problem. Again, after the war, political differences probably will still be there. There will be opposition, there will be coalition in the future. That's something that in democratic societies we know how to handle. We are fighting with undemocratic.
As you said, Israel has declared the war to Hamas. We're all aware of the close ties Hamas has with Iran. Do you think we might see a spillover of this war?
First, Israel didn't declare a war. Israel was forced into a war that declared on it. It's true that we are acting militarily as we are in a full state of war. We call our people for duty, my own kids, everybody is drafted, and we are fully ready to meet any challenge. We don't have any will to expand this war to other fronts, but we will be able and ready to defend ourselves and to use our forces if needed. We send very clear messages to Iran, to Syria, to Lebanon, to all those militias, to the Hezbollah. We send them clear messages, stay out publicly. These messages were sent to them publicly also by other countries. They were sent by diplomatic channels to those countries. And we hope that they will stay out. But if not, we will be able to defend ourselves and protect ourselves as needed.
Do you think there's someone else backing Hamas right now apart from Iran? And I'm asking this because we saw an attack from Hamas that was not expected. We didn't even know that they have so many rockets, for example.
If you didn't know, it means that you are not following very closely. We know how many rockets Hamas has, and we know that Hezbollah has much more capabilities, and still Israel is very strong, it's very powerful. We overcome the surprise. We are now taking the necessary means. We took back all the places that were penetrated. We are fully prepared on all our borders now, with all the Israeli capabilities and might, and if it will be put to the test, we will stand to this challenge and test.
What do you expect from the international community? What do you expect from your allies in the neighborhood? Greece is one of them.
We expect very clear and obvious things that we are getting them. First, a full condemnation of the savage attack, wild attack by those radical extremist criminals. But more than that Israel's right to defend itself and its people and its borders will be recognized. And defending our borders and our people demand to allow us the time to complete the missions to dismantle these capabilities of Hamas. And if somebody else will join, that we will get the support also for our defensive measures against them. I think that we got it. I think that we get it in statements. I think that we get it in actions. I was deeply moved to hear yesterday the President of the United States speech and the clear messaging and support that we are getting from the United States, but from all democracies around us, we get that kind of message. Nobody can, I don't imagine or can understand somebody that will be able to support the brutality of Hamas. It's like ISIS. Nobody negotiated with ISIS. Nobody stopped the war in Mosul or in Raqqa until ISIS was broken. I want to use your medium to thank immensely the government of Greece, the support that we get also from all the political spectrum here in Greece, and especially to the Greek people. We are overwhelmed by the numbers of solidarity, calls, messages, social media that we get. It is something that we appreciate very much. It is something that is known also to the Israeli public, and it's something that also helps to the Israeli public to know that around the world people are supporting and showing solidarity with them. So thank you, Greece, for everything that you are doing.
What do you expect from the European Union that, for example, is sending aid to the Palestinians?
We have nothing against Palestinians or Palestinian people. We have war with Hamas, an ISIS-like terror organization. I don't think that the European Union or anybody in Europe is supporting Hamas. It is defined as terror organization by the EU countries, and I hope that it will be done the same by individual countries, and I hope that there will be an Interpol or a warrant against every operative and person that belong to this organization, exactly as the world was united against ISIS.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for this discussion.
Thank you very much for coming.